Hello and welcome. Is India the place to be for pharmaceuticals and particularly for global pharma? And what's the trends they're looking like? I'm joined by Hasit Joshipura, CEO of GlaxoSmithKline in India, to answer some of those questions. Hasit, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.
Is this a good time to be in India? A lot of regulatory uncertainty, investments taking time to get cleared, small investments landing up right at the top and then facing roadblocks?
No, I think, like they say, the long-term story still remains intact. But like everything else in India, there's a bit of a sort of winding which happens, and that's really what's happening in healthcare. If you, I've been in healthcare for now about 11 years, and if you think about it, the approach to India and emerging markets in general went through a 180-degree swing.
Right.
From a situation when I joined where global pharma really didn't have much to do with India. It became a must-do destination.
Right.
And you've seen the gold rush. People have paid big sums of money to get a footprint, play catch up. So all that's happened and will continue to happen, I think. And the reason is very clear, because growth is here, not just in emerging markets but India as well, double-digit growth. And but there have been issues. The second trend, of course, was the move, the whole pharma business model, R&D model.
You can look at me.
Yeah, has been undergoing a change because of the need to pull out costs.
Yeah.
So parts of the R&D model came to India, and that was doing quite nicely. We've had a few hiccups recently about legislation, regulation on clinical trials, for example, where of course you need regulation. You need to make sure that patients are protected. But I think the pendulum had swung the other way. Hopefully it will swing back. So, but long term, I think there is no question that healthcare in India is highly underpenetrated, as we know, and it's a market which is going to continue to grow.
Right. So, what are the sectors for you as a manufacturer of drugs with patents that you own? What are the sectors that are growing specifically, or the kinds of diseases that you're sort of solving more than others?
Well, I think where for any global pharma company, the Indian model has to be different from the models they use in the US or in the developed world. So India is more about breadth. It's not about a few areas when you go into depth,
Right.
With a patent, because first of all, for a long time to come, India will remain a branded generics model.
Right.
And therefore, for somebody like us who already have a reasonable size footprint in India, if we have to remain contemporary and relevant, we have to keep increasing our breadth. So 6 years ago, we were relatively narrowly focused on our legacy business. And our attempt in the last few years has been to try and broad base that. And that has come through building our vaccines foray. That's come through getting into new therapeutic areas. We've done some deals, partnerships, things like cardiovascular, things like oncology, where we've gotten a few patented products. So I think our attempt has been to broad base the business.
Okay. So what's happening in the let's look at the demand side. So what's happening in terms of lifestyles, behavior, diseases that's making you, let's say, sit up and say, okay, here are the areas when we need to put in a little more effort than perhaps the others?
No, I mean, the fastest growing areas, of course, as is well known, is things like diabetes, metabolic, cardiovascular.
Yeah.
But we have a slightly different view on this, because of the levels of underpenetration in this country. We are going to see growth across therapy areas. We are going to continue to see growth, because at one end you are going to, over a period of time, the trickle-down effect of economic growth will bring more and more people into the foray of modern medicine, and which means that your traditional areas like communicable diseases will continue to grow, anti-infectives, all of that. And then you've got this dichotomy where in the urban areas with greater affluence, you have more lifestyle diseases. So our view is that you're going to see growth across, and it's not going to be in any particular area.
Right. What are the kind of areas you feel investment is going to come in? I mean, particularly from manufacturing, or is investment desired in order to meet all this demand?
No, I mean, look, as the industry grows at double digits, you are going to need capacities. You are going to need manufacturing capacities, apart from the whole generic export business. So investment will come in manufacturing. I think it's a matter of time. We've seen brownfield, but I have no doubts that greenfield will come as well. And then you are going to see over time investment in research. There will be hiccups. We will need to mature as a research destination, as a country, and have the right kind of legislation, which, and this is in many areas, I think, we have to learn to balance between the needs of the Indian population, as well as ensure that people who come in their rights are respected. And that applies to healthcare as well.
Right. So, which leads me to my next question. So, what's your view on the whole generics debate? I mean, generics in terms of government getting into supply of generics, which is maybe at a cheaper cost, and as in some ways taking on large pharma.
Well, I don't think you're taking on large pharma because when you're providing,
or going on a different path.
No, I think world over. I mean, you look at the U.S. model, and I think that's the model we'll eventually evolve into. You've got Medicare, Medicaid at the two ends of the spectrum, and the rest is, service through either insurance or self-pay or whatever. And that's the model I think India is moving towards. So the whole business about a government providing free medicine in some states or subsidized medicine in government hospitals, I think that's fine. Because what you're really doing is you're providing access to people who don't have access to medicine today. And that's fine. And then as people get relatively more affluent, they don't want to stay in the public domain, they will move to private. So I think there's room for all.
Right. So how do you see, the role of GSK itself? I mean, if you were to look a little ahead, and in some ways I'm asking this of a multinational who's of course been here for a long time, but the question is, are you changing your role in some way? Are you positioning yourself differently with society or your consumers?
Our model has always been to make sure that we provide as broad an access to our medicines as possible. And, historically, therefore, to be able to do that, we were one of the first companies to move manufacturing here. We had pricing which was appropriate to the country. And that's the direction we are continuing to move in. It's become a bit more broad globally. So GSK now has a tiered pricing model, for example, where our medicines are priced based on the GDP per capita of the country. And even products which are not made here, we price them appropriately to India. So our vaccines are priced appropriately. Our oncology products we've come in have been priced appropriately. So I think that's the model we're moving towards. Not moving towards, we are evolving our existing model to make sure that as our medicines become more and more sophisticated, we are able to price them in a manner that we provide access to as many people as possible.
Right. So what are the new things that GSK is working on? I mean, things that this could be conceptual, this could be something that is there in the laboratories, which might be of interest to people who are, let's say, trying to understand whether they...
So I think the new area, which it's very nascent as yet, is, micro devices, embedded micro devices. So it's a new area, it's more sort of venture kind of area. So that's an area globally they're looking at. The second is therapeutic vaccines. Okay. So we are big in vaccines anyway, but vaccines traditionally have been preventive. We're now looking at areas in oncology where you can actually delay the progression of the disease. I mean, that's the hypothesis, by actually giving a vaccine. So that's the other trend, if you will. And then some areas of biotech, we acquired Human Genosciences. That gives us some opportunity and window into the biotech world. But more so, I think GSK is becoming more broad-based. So now vaccines is a big enough business. Geographically, emerging markets is a very important part. Consumer is an important part. So I think it's becoming a more broad-based business.
And what's the outlook for India? Both. I mean, one is, are there any trends that you see in terms of new things that you might do or areas that you might address? And what's the market looking like overall? I mean,
just think about it. As I said earlier, in the last 5 years, we've got into areas where we are not present at all. So we had no presence in oncology. We now have 4 products in oncology, and it's doing quite well. We had vaccines used to be just 6% of our business. It's now 13%. Will go up to about 18% of our business.
And this is in 5 years.
In 5 years. Yeah. We were always leaders in mass dermatology, but now we have a piece in cosmetic dermatology. So we are complete in that sense. We had no presence in cardiovascular. So we partnered with Daiichi and came in with and now we have, and then more recently, we've done first of its kind, where we've come in with a device, which GSK doesn't do anywhere in the world. So we have a device which tests cholesterol on a strip. It's one of a kind, like you do sugar. So that we are testing. So there are new areas we're getting into, and hopefully at some stage...
and these are things that you're testing, innovating here, which you may take elsewhere later?
We may take elsewhere, but certainly we will expand it here.
Market. Right. And finally, I know the pharma industry doesn't move in the same cycle as the rest of industry, which is manufacturing and so on. So are things looking much better for you for the year ahead? No,
things are not looking much better for us. Because if you look at the pharma industry, the growth has slowed down from, I think it was a heady 16% back in 2010 or 11, came down to 12% last year. And year to date, up to June, I think it is over 9%, if you were to believe the trackers.
Right. And do you see that changing, or is it still on a...
Difficult to say. There are no signs as yet. The pundits seem to suggest that we will see some improvement as the quarter. I mean, as the year unfolds. But we've yet to see that.
Right. But what would that
but
be?
also remember that we've just got a new price control.
Yeah.
So that's going to take a piece out of the growth.
Right.
Because that's going to deflate values for the industry.
Right. But and last question. So what's a good situation? I mean, so are you directly linked to economic growth? It's a layman's question, you know. Or
No. I see. I think we are linked to economic growth in the sense that, like in the consumer world, people tend to downtrade. My hypothesis is that people tend to downtrade to more sort of
Right.
cheaper generic medicines. So in the short term, you will see things like that. But longer term, I think in India, people recognize the value of private healthcare. So that direction is going to grow.
Right, Hasin, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Pleasure being with you.
Thank you.